first name is E-N-A.
E-N-A.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not Anna. Okay. I was born in Montenero Rocco Chiaro, provincia Campobasso. No, provincia Isernia. That was before. Now they changed. They redid the region, and it's provincia Chieti. Before Abruzzese, I still feel Abruzzese, but now I'm Molisano. So they changed it, but that's okay. So anyways, what else you want to know?
When were you born?
I was born February 1st.
So you are a first generation to come to the United States.
Yeah,
Well,
my father was here before me.
Okay, so tell me that story. Tell me your father
Okay.
and then ultimately your move
Yes,
to the United
okay.
States.
My father, you want to know his name too?
Sure.
Alfonso iacobuzzi. He came before 14. I don't know exactly when, because I went to New York a couple of years ago, and I looked it up, and it says 1914. Then I talked to my brother, and he says, no, he was here before, so I don't know, because I never even met my father. Because when I was 6 months old, he came back, because he was going back and forth, and he came back to America, and I was only 6 months old, and when I was 2 years old, he passed away. So I never met him, so I don't know, but he used to come, and then he used to go back. That's what they did those days. Mama didn't want to come, I guess, so he used to come back and then come back here, and he had the passport all the time. So when I was born, the reason why we came here, because after the war was really bad over there, and Mama says, why don't you go? My brother wanted to come, but my brother was in the Italian army, and he had lost his citizenship. So he had to make la domanda, they used to say, like an application, and he had to find somebody to guarantee a job, to guarantee where he was going to stay, you know. So a cousin of ours, Nicky's parents, guaranteed him, and he came. So after he came, Mama says, well, you know, she wanted us to come too because it was bad over there. It's not now. It's very nice now. But anyways, I was American citizen because when I was born, under my father's citizenship, and also my sisters. So then me and my sister came, one of my sisters, and when I came, when we were on the train from New York, I was so disappointed. The houses looked like little shacks. When I got here, I didn't understand the word English, not one word. My brother did because he was a prisoner in, I think it was Liverpool, someplace in England. And he learned some English, but when I came, I didn't know a word of English. So I was so sad. I wanted to go back, but I didn't have the money to go back. So, but then by the time I got used to it, then I liked it. But it was difficult because every time I had cousins and we were together, they understood Italian, they spoke the dialect. But when they were with their friends, they spoke English, and you think they're talking about you, which they weren't. But it was very difficult because we didn't understand anything. So then the same month that I came, it was May, I got a job, and I went to work at
What year was that you came
1951. I was 17, and I went to work at Fritz Baking Company, and everybody spoke English, except the two ladies were there that spoke a little Italian, a little dialect. So, but anyways, I was working with other people that spoke English, so I started learning. Then I went to night school with my sister and a couple other friends. We used to take the bus. We used to live around Cascade, the 21st over there. We'd take the bus and go downtown. There was Tech Memorial, I think it was called. It was downtown, so we went to school over there for a while, and that's where I learned. I had a very nice teacher, Miss Sullivan, and she taught us the verbs and how to pronounce things. And so and then I met my husband at Furch's, And he spoke English, he didn't speak Italian. He is from Italian descent, but he didn't speak Italian. So then I spoke English all the time, and that's...
Was your attraction to him because he was Italian?
I didn't like him at all. I'm still in them. I didn't like him at all. Anytime he wanted to take me home, because he worked there too. He worked in the bread department, I worked in the cake department. And he wanted to take me home, and I would always go home with my friends, somebody that would pick me up, and I never got in the car with him. And then one day, I don't know what happened, nobody was there, and he was there to pick me up, so I went with him, and we went over to his house. He had a change for some reason, and I met his parents. I was just telling them, and I says, they seem like a nice family. So I started double dating with another couple, and we went out, and then...
Just think if you hadn't gotten into that car.
Yes.
Your life
well,
could have
maybe
been...
it would have been better. I don't know. But I didn't like him at all. Oh my gosh, I couldn't stand him. So.
And how many years were you married?
Okay, it's 54 and counting.
Imagine if you had actually liked him.
Yeah.
You probably would have been divorced, 20 years ago. Let's go back here. You come to, as a 17-year-old Italian young lady.
Yes.
To Erie.
Yes.
And there is a pre-existing Italian-American community. How did they treat you? Did you feel like you were part of the community, or you were something different then?
Well, no, we went to live with our Aunt Teresa. She lived on 28th and Cascade, and it wasn't all Italian people. And the Little Italy was down by St. Paul's. I don't know if you're familiar with the area, if you're from Erie. So when I did get married to St. Paul's, because then we moved from my Aunt Teresa, because first it was my brother was living there, then my sister and myself, then my other sister came, so we had to move, got our own apartment. Then the one sister's husband came, then the other sister's husband came, and kids, so then we all got our own place. And my brother and I were living by ourselves, because we were both singles. So I never had any difficulties with Italian people, just because I didn't understand English. And then when I learned English, then I didn't want to go back. So then I had the money to go back, but...
Sure. But when you look in from the outside,
yeah.
Into Little Italy,
yeah.
Did you recognize that this was an Italian community, or did it seem like, this is strange, this is
No,
an American variation?
No, I recognized that it was because we used to go to church at the Italian church, and that's where I got married. No, I knew there was Italian people there, didn't.
I guess what I'm curious is,
Well,
sometimes we have, well, like Raphael. Raphael is from China,
yeah.
but he goes to a Chinese restaurant here in the United States, and he knows that that's not Chinese food.
Oh yeah, I know
So I
that
guess what
too.
I was curious is when you went into Little Italy, did you see things that they were calling Italian that in fact were very bizarre to you?
I don't recollect, I don't know. But about that, he's right. Like I go to Olive Garden, they're supposed to learn in Tuscany. Give me a break, they don't. I don't know what they're doing, but my sauce is delicious, and theirs isn't. I don't want to say bad about Olive Garden, because I like it. You know, the music, the atmosphere, it's very nice, but the food is not like it is in Italy. Mm-mm. Nowhere. The food in Italy is the best.
Olive Garden is the sponsor of this project. I just
I'm sorry.
no, I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you.
But like I said, I don't want to say anything bad about Olive Garden, because I go and I like it. You know, like I said, the atmosphere and stuff. But sometimes the sauce is not what it should be.
Sure.
I'd like to teach them.
Okay, well you'll have a chance maybe later to teach me.
Okay.
Because and my wife has been begging to come to these sessions
Oh.
because she wants to learn.
Really?
Yeah. So here's my next question though,
Okay.
is that you left Italy, what, 1951?
Yes.
And you came to the United States, And I would like you to speak to me about differences in the place and power of women in Italy compared to the United States.
Well, over here, they're more, over there you're more at home. But now it's the same. When I came, it was different. Like I was telling them, if a boy liked you, you would never go just with him alone. Even if you went, like we had to go get the water away from the town, and we either carried it on top of our head, or we had a donkey or a horse, and you had barrels, and you put them on each side, and you got on top of it, or pulled the donkey or whatever, and went home. And even if you were talking with the boy outside, that everybody could see you weren't doing anything wrong, you would be talked to, and So over here, it was different.
Is that why you kept your
Yes.
husband at
Yes.
a distance?
Yes.
You would never go with him because that was a...
Exactly. Then we started double dating. So, but I would never go with him alone because I wasn't brought up that way. And when I came, I was even embarrassed to wear pants. But I was young, and so when I went out with my girlfriends, I did wear pants, but as soon as I got home, I changed because I was embarrassed of my brother to see me like that. See how strange it was? But now, over there, it's just like over here.
Sure. How about expectations of women? Did Italian society have different expectations of you as a woman compared to here, in terms of what you would do with your life?
What do you mean? Can you say?
Well, I mean, did your family and did the larger Italian society expect you to go to college and get a job, or did they expect you to stay at home and tend to the family? And
Well, if my father was alive, I would have went to college, because I loved going to school. But they expect you to do whatever you want to do, but at that time when I was there, definitely was to stay home and raise a family. There was no other choice, really. So that's what everybody did. But now, they all go to college, and like a Montenegro, nobody even plants stuff like we used to. We all had our own land, and we planted everything. All the food, everything we had, we planted. That's how we lived. Now nobody plants anything. They go out of town and work in offices or teachers, so everything has changed over there too.
what was your expectation of the United States before you got here? What did you think your life was going to be
You
like?
wouldn't believe it. When I thought it was coming, I thought it was a little river. When I got in that boat, and it was nothing but sky and water, oh my gosh, it was scary. I mean, I was never out of Montenegro. Sure, I went to Rome to get my passport, because first we had to go to Isernia. There was a lawyer there. His name was Celidonia, and you make the application and all that stuff, and he tells you, he makes the appointment to where to go to take the boat and everything. We took the boat in Naples, but we had to go to consulate in Rome to get our passport. So that's the only places I was, in the little towns around our hometown. But then when I came here, I mean, everything, New York, so big and everything, it was so different.
But did you expect your life to be, I mean, what did you expect your life to be like? Did you expect to just make it rich? Did you think, I mean, what kind of expectations?
I didn't think about that stuff. I really didn't. I was a stupid kid. Just I had my friends, I was sad, I left my mother, I left my friends, boyfriends, and I came here and I didn't know anybody.
Did you experience homesickness?
Oh, yes, definitely, a lot. But then my family started coming one at a time, so.
So very quickly then, very early on, you're sharing an apartment or a place with your brother. Did his attitude about Italian women, what good Italian women should be, did that shape how he treated you?
Well, when his wife came, she was going to work, so I guess it was the same as was over here. He didn't have any preconceived notions. I mean, she went to work, he went to work, there was the child. Then my mother came from Italy and she watches the child and they went to work. So we didn't have any, because everybody worked in Italy too. We worked in the fields, but everybody worked. We did probably have preconceived notion that we thought, everybody had a lot of money here. We thought it grew on trees, really. Because people used to send packages and, my father, every time they tell me, because like I said, I was only 2 years old when he died, so I never knew my father, but he used to bring all kinds of stuff from America. So my older sister and brother, they remember all the good stuff. I don't have any.
So very quickly, you're maintaining that dual life. You're an Italian woman living now in the United States, and you're trying to, you want to wear dresses because you've been taught that. Do you want to assimilate quickly? Do you want to become American, or are you holding on to your Italian?
Well, I think I'm still holding on to some stuff, but I'll tell you a little story. When I first came from Italy, when I was little and my father died, they dressed me in black. So I didn't want to wear light colors. I wasn't comfortable. So when I came here and I went shopping, I didn't have many clothes to wear because when I went to buy clothes, they were so different here. So I went to Lerner's downtown, and I found one dress, and I bought two of them because they were one dark brown and one dark blue. So I bought both of them so I would have something to wear because I was in black all my life. I mean, I was 2 years old, they dressed me in black. Can you believe that?
No, yeah.
And I was dressed in black until my sister, right after the war, she got married, they put me in brown. So those are the colors I was used to.
And please note what
I
you're
can
wearing
wear
today.
brown. Yes. Even now, I can't,
So tell me some of the things that you have preserved even to this day of Italian heritage and culture.
The holidays, it's still like going to church.
Well, describe these holidays and what makes it Italian.
Well, like the Vigilia, the Vigil, Christmas, that's sacred to me. Now you can eat meat, but to me it's still the Vigil, the 7 fishes. I don't make the 7 fishes because my husband don't care that much for all the fish. But I like bacala, that's dried cod, and they make macaroni aglio olio. You know what that is? Oh, that's delicious. It's spaghetti, aglio e olio, garlic and oil. And it's really good. It doesn't sound like it, but it is. You make it, don't you, Norm? Yeah, it's good. It's like a Friday meal without meat. And so I preserve that, and I go to church. When I was little, I used to go to church all the time. I belonged in a choir, and I used to teach catechism. I'm not that involved over here, but I do go to church, and I love to sing. I don't sing in a choir, but.
Do you often get a chance to speak Italian? I mean, the first 17 years of your life was exclusively Italian, and now.
Yeah, well, I speak Italian like with my friends, but not really Italian. We speak the dialect, and that's another language in itself. I have a lot of friends that we came from Italy. From Montenegro. So we speak dialect when we get together. And the Italian, when I called my husband's family that live in Penna Piedimonte, you speak Italian now, because now they do speak Italian, so I do speak Italian with them. And I have another friend too, that she's from Montenegro, and they speak Italian in Montenegro too. When I was little, we used to go to school, they thought it's Italian, and when you go home and you speak the dialect, you never get a chance to speak Italian. And now, when they go to school and they learn Italian, and they continue to speak Italian, so that's nice.
Well, just gonna be a curious question. Do you dream in Italian or do you dream in English?
I don't dream much, but when I dream, I don't know. I dream of people. Sometimes, sometimes in my dream, I guess I start talking and I talk Italian. My husband doesn't know what I'm saying. You know, sometimes when you just wake up from a dream and you're talking, and I guess I do it in Italian.
Well, I just hope you weren't saying, I
Nothing.
shouldn't have gotten in that car.
Nothing bad. No, I couldn't believe I did that, you know.
Well, now, okay, so where you're from is really kind of a unique kind of, I don't want to.
Small town.
A small community, but it's really a part of a larger mosaic of
Yeah.
Italian culture.
Yes.
So, I guess I'm just curious, I mean, are there specific things from your home region that you've now brought to this Italian-American community? I mean, are there particular dishes or customs or religious ceremonies or practices that you practiced in Italy that you've brought here?
Particular dishes, you mean food?
Hmm?
Oh, yeah, I cook all Italian foods. I make lasagna, I make gnocchi.
But are there any that are unique to your home region that you
Yeah.
wouldn't find elsewhere in Italy?
Oh, no, Italy is all the same. Well, sure, there's different towns that make different stuff, but I don't know. They make pasta and beans and like I says, the other stuff, the spaghetti sauce and,
Some communities might be spicier than others, some
Yes.
might be more red sauce and fish or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if there was anything unique. How about religion? Did you have special, religious ceremonies or I don't even know what the word is, processions?
oh yeah, processions, yes, but we don't have them here. Procession, yes, at Easter time, the priest used to come and bless your house, everybody's house. It was a small town. Used to go bless the houses. At Easter time, we used to go and see our godparents and kiss their hand. So, and they used to give you a pizzelle, you know? You know what that is?
You know what, I
I
had
should've
my
brought
first
some, but
just a
no.
couple weeks ago, and I
Yeah.
had to fight for them with my children because they
Oh,
were
I wish I
they
had
were
some.
awesome.
I'm gonna make them tomorrow because my cousins are coming from Providence. Now, let's see, what else? What were we saying?
About religious ceremonies and processions, and we had, I forget who it was that we had in the chair, who told us that, I think it was on Easter, they would put a witch out on the door.
Witch?
Was that right?
Yes,
And that
yes.
they with a broom and that it was to
I think
ward
New
off.
Year's, was it New
That
Year's?
must have been
Maybe
on
New Year.
Halloween.
No,
No.
it wasn't.
No.
No,
In
it
Italy.
wasn't. In Italy.
It was, yeah,
No, it wasn't. La Befana.
But was there any belief in superstition or?
You know, it was, they used to stay up all night and make noodles. It was on one holiday. They used to call it, Saint Nicholas. I don't know if it was meant to serve the poor, but we used to stay up all night, make noodles and cook them, and they used to have like a fireplace, that's where you cook. And the house was full of smoke, our eyes would burn, but we'd stay up all night to make those noodles and eat them, and they all only made noodles without eggs, and they cooked them and they just put oil and garlic, but they were delicious. Now it sounds gross.
Mm.
No?
No.
But, I mean, we stayed up all night, and then they gave it to everybody, just to give it around. Another tradition was, the day of St. Anthony Abate, they used to have a big fire in the piazza. But before that, they used to buy a pig, and the whole town used to raise this pig. And at the end, in the feast, they used to, whoever caught the pig, took the pig. And then when it got big enough, they killed it. And I was telling them, we all had our own pig too. Because we had our own chickens, our own cows, our own horse. We had everything to live on. Like if we wanted eggs, we had our own eggs. We wanted chicken, we had our own chickens. And I remember my mother, she made chicken, she made cheese, she made mozzarella, she made ricotta out of the milk. So I don't know, what else you want to know?
No, you're doing well. Let's go back to this experience of, you're coming to the United States, and I want to know more about that transition, because that cannot be an easy transition.
It wasn't at the time. It wasn't. Like I said, I was really unhappy because I didn't understand. But then once I started making friends, and I was young, so I adapted very well.
But your family is still kind of coming over piecemeal, right? They're still coming over in wave by wave, bit by bit.
Yeah.
How did you guys celebrate? Did you celebrate all together? And where did you go, and how did that happen? If they're coming.
You won't believe it, but the first time when my brother came, like I said, he was living with our aunt. And then when we came, my sister and I were living there too. He would sleep there during the day because he worked nights, and we would sleep there at night in the same bed, the same room. And we ate with, now you wouldn't think of that. I want to change the bed, you know what I mean? So, but at that time, that's what it was. But we stayed there for a while until my other sister came, and then we moved.
And a lot of the women who've sat in that seat spoke very fondly about the Sunday meal.
Oh,
Gathering
yes.
at the family house, at one particular place. Where did you guys assemble for that meal?
Well, first we were with our aunt. It was all our family and everything. Then we were on our own. And now with my own family,
Okay.
my kids.
Do you still have that extended family kind of feel to it?
I don't have any relatives left.
Okay. You mentioned your father passing away when you were 2, and not
Yes.
really, knowing about him beyond what your
Yes.
siblings told you.
Yes.
Talk to me about your mother.
My mother was great. She was left with 4 kids, and that was a sudden death too. He died of heat stroke, sunstroke. And one minute she got a letter and he was well, and then all of a sudden she got a letter he had died. And she was taking it very hard, what they tell me, because I don't remember anything. And then my grandmother says to her, see what you're gonna do, because you got kids, and you can't, because they told me she was really depressed because my father had died. She had 4 kids, she didn't know what to do. So then my aunt and my grandmother got her going, says, you better get out of that depression because you got kids and you have to raise your kids. And she did very well. We all grew up. She never sent us working to anybody else, for anybody else, because my sister tells me that a family wanted her to go and work for her, like clean her house, watch the kids, and my mother says no. So we just worked our own land, raised our own food like everybody else did, and we were okay. Actually, she used to lend food and money to other people. She did very well, so I don't have any complaints.
Mm-hmm. What?
Except that if my father was alive, I'm sure I would have went to college, because he made the money.
In what ways do you find yourself like your mother? Are you in any way like your mom?
Very caring, more affectionate. I think that my mother didn't demonstrate too much, but I mean, I hug my kids and kiss them and tell them I love them, and my grandchildren, my gosh. I don't know where I learned that myself, I guess.
How about some of the things you're passing on to your grandchildren? Are there any Italian customs, traditions, things that you're teaching them to carry on, that so they're not just American, because that's boring.
Yeah.
We want to have that
Well,
Italian.
the stuff I make, and also the stuff we do for the holidays, you know, like Easter time, I always make the Easter, you make it with ricotta. It's like a ricotta pie with nuts and raisins. Do you make it, Norman? It's really good. I still make that, and pizzelles, of course, it's a must when it's a holiday. And other cookies, and they expect that because I do it all the time, and they like that, so it's a tradition.
We seem, and I don't know if it's because of me, because I'm hungry when we do these interviews, but we talk a lot about food. Why is food so important to Italian Americans, Italians, and why is it at the heart of the women's experience?
Well, because we're the ones who do the cooking, I guess. And that's, every time you get together, it's about food, you know? Every time people come over, you want to feed them. So, I don't know, I just.
Why do you want to feed them?
Because that's the thing to do when somebody comes over. And sure, you talk, but it's also, right away, you want to give them some good that you made.
Well, and there's a lot of symbolism in
Share.
that food, right?
Yes.
So talk to me about that symbolism, what it means to be feeding these people who are your friends and your family.
Makes me feel good, especially if they like what I made, you know? Makes me feel good to give stuff to
You
people.
put love into it when you're making it for them.
Yes, exactly. It's not
Do you think
anything.
do you think it has anything to do with the fact that a lot of us grew up, you know, struggling to make sure there was food on the table? Our
Yeah.
parents struggled to make
Yeah.
sure there was food on
But
the
also,
table.
when you make stuff and you're, you know, like it's not something you bought, if you have somebody come over, you always make it yourself. Yeah, maybe sometimes you go buy a pie, but you always make stuff yourself because it's more personal and it's more, they say, did you make this yourself? Say yes, and they love it. My husband made wine this year, and it's delicious, really good. He did a good job. It was the first year. Yeah, it's really good.
I guess because this program is focusing on the experience of women, I want to wrestle with that just a little bit more in terms of you know, the motivation for it. Men don't typically prepare the meals and set out, and they don't typically give of themselves
Right.
to their guests.
Yes.
Why does a woman feel it's necessary to give of themselves to the people who they're bringing in their homes?
I guess that's the way we were born. I don't know. I wouldn't think of somebody come over not to offer anything. I wouldn't think of it. I mean, you want to feel well, you want to make them welcome, feel welcome. By the way, you put the coffee on, you offer them a drink. I put whatever I have. I'm very, very giving, very generous.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering if, you know, there's some kind of built-in mechanisms.
I know some American people that they don't even ask you to come in. So, not all women are the same. I mean, sometimes you go, I've had occasions when I brought something to somebody, and they didn't even, I mean, they take it, they don't even say, would you like to come in? Just as a courtesy. So I would never do that.
Well, and that's, I'm wondering if American society is so built on individualism and a selfishness that the Italian tradition that you bring to the United States is really centered on community and giving to people.
Yes, and in Italy, even now, it's the same. When you go there, your family, even if you're not, they treat you like your family. They want you to go see them, they run away, they put the coffee on, the biscotti, everything. And it's not the same over here, so that's maybe the difference. When I go there, and I haven't, you know, I left in 51, it's 60 years. But when I go there, my friends, it's like I just left.
Are there things you miss about Italy, even to this day?
I miss my friends, I miss my church. I miss the food. I miss Italy. The cities, oh my gosh. Rome and Florence. Capri, so beautiful. Sorrento. The last time I was there now was 3 years ago. It's going to be 3 years. I've been back 5 times.
And you don't think Edinburgh's beautiful?
Oh, I said it's very nice. I told you when
I'm
we
teasing.
come, well, no, when we come in, I said it's like their own little town. It's very nice.
I'm joking.
No, it is. It's very nice.
Help me out with some questions here.
I thought perhaps you could touch on, a lot of us don't have a concept what it's like to live during a war. We've never been touched by it,
That
but
was
you
the-
were. So could you tell us a little bit about what happened during the war years in your little town?
Yes, that was terrible. That they used.
Tell us how
It was
how
scary
terrible.
because there was bombs. As a matter of fact, I had a little cousin that I carried around, and every time he saw a little hole, he'd go zzzz, boom, because he thought it was a bomb that did it. Now, the Germans were very mean. I hope you're not German. But one time, they told us we had to move we had to leave our homes and move away because they used to they were gonna bomb all the bridges and then we wouldn't be able to leave and they would kill you. So we had to go out and, away from the town, and there was some people that had like a farm and they had animals, and that's where we went to stay. In the middle of the night, we had to leave, got our neighbors, and all together we left. And where we were, we could see our home, we could see our town, and we could see them burning it. We didn't know if it was our home or somebody else's. And like my mother and my sister, they used to go back and forth to get the food. And the other people too, you know, their parents, the older siblings, they used to go back in the town and get the food, and you had to be very careful, because if they caught you, they would shoot you. They lined up these 4 guys, and they machine gunned them down. And one of them jumped over the wall to be saved. And he broke his leg, but he didn't get shot, he lived. So they were very bad. And they took everything, whatever they wanted, they took. And then the Americans came, and we were saved. It was wonderful.
So that you were there when the American troops came in?
Yes.
Describe that.
Oh, it was so nice. They used to give us candy bars, and they were so gentle and kind. And then, you know, they got the Germans to leave, and it was such a relief. So, what's the word? So safe, you felt so safe.
And so you were able to go back to your home?
Yes, so we were able to go back to our homes.
Do you remember
And we
that
did-
moment of going back?
Yes, I remember that moment. We didn't have any water because, like I said, you had to go get it, so we were drinking milk. Because we had cows, and I guess Mama had milked the cows before we got there, I don't know. But that's what we were drinking for water that night, milk. Because we didn't have anything in the house, because we were gone, I don't know how many months. I don't know how many months or days, because it was only 9 or 8.
Did you live in the mountains?
Yeah. Yeah, we stayed there.
What kind of shelter did you have?
Gee, I don't remember.
Were there caves?
No, it was a building, but it was like where they kept the horses and cows and stuff like that. I don't remember how we slept or where we slept. I know we slept inside, but probably on the floor. I don't remember that.
Was there any discussion in your house that you remember of about the fact that Italy had sided with Germany and Japan, that there had been that alliance?
I don't remember that.
Did you receive any discrimination when you came here
No.
by virtue of the war?
No. No, I didn't.
Help me, because you know some other stories that have already been kind of...
And how did you help your mother adapt? When your mother came last, you said,
Well, she just lived with us, so, you know.
but how did she adapt? Did she learn to speak English, or did...
No, she didn't know how to speak English.
When did she come?
She came 1957. She was the last one to come because after me and my sister came, then my other sister came, and she had 3 little kids. And my mother was left behind to watch those kids, and her husband was there too. And then her husband and the kids came, and then my mother was the last one to come. And she was living with my brother and his wife.
When did she pass away?
She passed away in 1965.
So she was here
Yeah.
8 years?
Yeah, she wasn't here that long. She got hit by a car on Grandview 2 days before Christmas.
Did you, when you went out with her, did you had to do the speaking?
Mhm.
Did she find the transition much more difficult than you did, because you were an adaptable teenager for all intents and
Yeah, but
purposes?
she had all her old friends, you know, she had old ladies that she used to love to spend time with. She wasn't involved with American people, mostly it was people who came from Italy. Cause there's a lot of Monteneresi in Erie. So she got to see the friends that had come before her. I don't know,
So she adapted well?
Yeah,
Good for her.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, she didn't go anywhere, you know, she went to church with us, or we took her.
You more or less protected her, and then you
Yeah.
didn't really try to teach her English, or...
Right, and where she lived, they spoke Italian all the time, Monte all the time, because she lived with my brother and his wife. She came from Italy, and she didn't speak any English. She hardly speaks now.
Mhm.
I mean, she understands, and she does talk English, but worse than I do. So they spoke Italian a lot, dialect. So she was like at home, just like,
Did she ever,
she was happy, she liked it then.
but I'm wondering if she looked at your new life that you've carved out here and thought, did she say anything about how American you've become, and how you've changed, how you're wearing pants and getting in cars with boys, those kinds of things?
Well, at that time I was older, and then I got married the same year, 6 months afterwards. So I don't remember, she just blended right in, like,
Did she like your husband?
yeah, she liked him.
So she liked him more than you did.
More than me, yes. Yes, I didn't like him at all. It was
But
terrible.
I'm curious, because here, we grow up kind of thinking about how our lives are going to unfold, and we even do that with our children. You think
Yes.
they're going to grow up, and this is what their life is going to be like, and then when it doesn't meet that, here's my my beautiful daughter marrying this American boy who thinks he's Italian but doesn't know anything about being Italian.
She couldn't talk
What-
to him, but he treated her good, and she liked him. She didn't have any, she never said, why'd you marry him or something like that. Even my brother, I mean, he was strict, but he never said, I don't want you to go out with him or anything. And he used to be invited over with me when I was going with him over to his family's house. I remember that one Thanksgiving when we got snowed so bad that I had to stay there, because I couldn't, my brother walked home, and I stayed over there, and I slept with his sister, And then he belonged to the National Guard, and he got called to go.
1957.
Yes.
November of 1957.
Yeah, oh, it was terrible that year. So, I mean, my brother was like part of the family. Anytime they invited me, he was there too. So,
Did
it
your-
must have been in 56, because I wasn't married.
56?
Yeah, because I wasn't married.
Maybe it was 56.
Yeah, because my brother and I lived on 21st and,
Yeah, I was pregnant that year.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're
and
right.
we were over my mother-in-law and father-in-law for Thanksgiving.
Was your mother-in-law a first-generation American? That your husband didn't understand any Italian?
Yes, yes, his grandfather came from Italy, and I don't know if his grandmother, maybe she was even born here.
Oh,
I'm not sure. If she came, then she came a long time ago. I mean, when she was little. But his mother was born here.
I'm thinking that, you know,
And his
here's,
father came from Italy, excuse me.
oh, that's right.
His father came from Italy,
Your father is going back and forth
yes.
to the United States and coming back, and he's pursuing that kind of American dream
Mhm.
to do better for his family.
Yes.
And then ultimately, your family starts piecemealing its way over, one by one, two by two, coming to the United States.
After he died, though, see, that was.
Right, but to pursue that American dream again. And so I'm
Yes.
wondering, when your mom got here, did she feel like, you know, it took us a while,
Yeah.
but we got it done, and we're pursuing that American dream?
But see, the reason why we didn't come before, I heard that she didn't want to come. I always thought that my father didn't want us to come, because he was building a nice big home in Montenegro. Every time he came, you know, but then it wasn't finished when he died. So we did have property where we lived, but this was a big house with balconies and everything like they have here, and like they have in big cities in Italy. But then he died, so we never moved in there. We kept our animals there.
Hmm.
But I heard there was my mother that didn't want to come. That's why he just kept coming here and working and going back. And a lot of guys did that at that time.
Right.
And a lot of guys came, but they abandoned their families, never went back, never sent a penny.
So your father, by what you understand, was not what they call a bird of passage. That is, someone who comes to the United States just to make money and go back. He wanted probably to
Yeah,
move here,
yeah, he liked
but he
it,
had to
yeah.
take care of your mother.
Yeah, she didn't want to come. That's what I heard. And my brother told me that. It was my mother that didn't want to come. So,
Let's go back to you and your husband. You're married in the mid-50s.
yeah.
Who
57.
held the power in that family?
Well, when I was working, we were equal. Then I started having children. I mean, we used to go shopping, you know, for groceries. We did everything together. Then when I had the baby, I stopped working, and he started, he would stop and buy groceries. We stopped doing things together like we used to do before. He started taking care of the money, because when we first got married, I was the one that had savings. He didn't have a penny, because he used to play the pinball machines. Thank God he stopped on his own, and nobody had to tell him anything. But I mean, I had the money, and the money I had, we put down on a home when we bought our first home. But then he started taking care of the money. He takes care of the money now. But I mean, when I want some, I get it. But
There are some men who, they think they're in charge of the household, but they just follow orders.
Yeah,
So they may
no.
do important stuff, but they do it at the direction of the woman.
Well, we do things together, I guess. You know, we make the decisions together. Like if he wants tools and stuff like that, you know, he goes and gets them. It's not my department. But big decisions, we make them together.
Other questions? Apparently you heard some stories along the way. Did you want to?
The Second World War was the
Okay.
biggest thing. for
Yeah,
me.
about
That
the
was,
war,
yeah,
yeah.
about the
Yeah,
war.
that was
the
terrible.
biggest thing. Your children, did they ever have any, where did you live when you first got married in town, you and your husband, and where did you start having children?
We lived upstairs, his mother and father.
Where?
It was on 20th Street, between Sassafras and Myrtle.
Okay,
Okay.
so you never were really in Little Italy.
No, I never lived it down
Do
there.
you think your girls have learned enough from you that they're going to carry on your traditions?
Well, my older daughter, because she married an Italian guy, well, he was born here too, but he's more Italian than I am, I think. He does his 7 fishes. He likes to have everybody home for the holidays. He cooks big meals. I mean, if he's making, he's really Italian tradition. Like if he's making Thanksgiving, he's got to have his turkey, the soup, the raviolis, everything. No matter if it's just him and his wife, they only have 2 kids. Whether we go or not, they live in Pittsburgh. I mean, he always cooks big. Now for Mother's Day, he wanted to come and fix me a meal. So he cooked Mother's Day, and I mean, that was really nice of him. So he will carry the tradition. He was of Italian descent. Well, of course, his father was born here too, and his mother was German and Irish. But she died when he was 2, so he didn't learn anything from her. He learned from his aunt, because she was of Italian descent. So, but he believes all that. My other son-in-law, my other daughter, her husband's Greek, so, but she comes to my house for all the holidays, and so I'm sure she'll carry that tradition, you know. Now she's starting to do, she cooked her first turkey last Thanksgiving. So I says, good, I give you the reins, and I'll give you all the stuff you need for the turkey. So, but my kids all went to college, all did well. My oldest, first she went to that Hahnemann program, she wanted to become a doctor. Then she changed her mind and she went back to school and she took medicine law. My other daughter, she was a professor again, and after she got her master's, she expected a raise, but they didn't. You know, she expected to make as much as the guys were making, at least to get a raise, but they weren't gonna give her enough, so she quit, and she has her own business, Pennsylvania Futures. She goes into little towns and tells them how to combine things that the city can run better. So she's doing very well in that. And my son, he didn't care for school that much. He did go to college, but he was more for fun. And he took, what do you call it? You know, when you become a policeman?
Oh, criminal justice.
Criminal justice, yes. But he didn't even become, when he was going to college, he worked part-time at a bar, so now he owns a bar venue. That's what he likes to do. And he's doing very well. He loves that. He loves what he's doing. He lives in Florida.
When you, I assume you have a television?
Oh, yes.
Well, I
4
don't,
of them.
so I you
You
know.
don't?
I don't have a
How
television.
does your wife live?
We talk, we eat, we play
Yeah, I
games
guess
with our
it's
children.
better, yeah.
But here's my question, when you're watching television and you see films depicting Italy, or Italians, or Italian Americans, do you see any stereotypes, or do you see things that, oh, that's exactly like it is, or things like, what, that's...
Well, like when I used to see the pictures that really, who was it, Clark Gable and, then, you know, the old films, yes. And that one, Tuscany in the Sun,
Mhm.
yes, yes. It's just like it is in Italy.
What do you think about the stereotypes of Italian Americans, that they're all in the mob, And,
I don't
yeah.
know any Muppet people.
But I mean, it's such a horrible stereotype,
Yes, it
and
is.
to lump one people
Yeah.
into that is not fair. I'm just
No,
curious
it's
what
not
you.
fair.
I mean, to my knowledge, you haven't bumped anybody off, have you?
No.
Okay, well.
Sometimes I say, when people are bad, send them a bomb, but I don't mean it, you know, because that's what I hear they do. But I would be afraid to know anybody like that, because if they don't like you, you're gone.
Other questions? We only have 4 minutes left.
I think, do you resent the fact that, you know, they depict Italians sometimes as unsavory criminals? I mean, do you ever think about that's wrong, or?
Well, the thing is that there is such people, but are they still around? I don't, there's still a mafia around?
I suspect there is, but there's as many people who are in Irish mobs and
Yes,
Jewish
exactly.
mobs and
Yes.
Korean and Vietnamese mobs. Yeah, I don't know of too many Swedish or Norwegian mobs, but I
Yeah.
suspect
But
that even then,
They
you gotta-
seem to concentrate on Italian mobs.
Yes,
And
But
they
because that's what they-
perpetuate the stereotype. and it's
that's what they make
hateful.
films about. Look at
The Godfather. The Godfather?
yeah, The Godfather and, well, that show that was on, what the heck's the name of
The
it?
Sopranos.
Yeah, The Sopranos. I mean, that's not the way it is in real life.
In Italy, and I'm just, my understanding of Italian families, and maybe it's through the media, is that when they gather, it is loud, it is boisterous, it is animated, there's lots of love, but there's also lots of activity going on. Is that the case also back in Italy?
What do you mean activities?
Well, when you gather for a family meal,
It is a lots of love and a lots of yelling and, it's exactly like that. Because it's a lot of people, like when I go back to Italy and then everybody comes over, the cousins and everybody. I don't have anybody left there, but my husband does, because his father's brother lived there, now he's passed away, and he still has cousins. It's not the same now without his uncle, but when we went back the first time, my gosh, you know, it was like a feast. Yeah, really, all the little cousins and his first cousins, it was wonderful. So, and it is.
okay. You know what?
And then,
We're gonna stop.
How long did it take?
8 days.
Oh, that's not as bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
8 days.
but still.
Yes, and then we got to New York and didn't know a soul.
And why did your brother move to Erie? Well, that's one thing I should have asked.
Because that's where the cousins were,
So they were the ones that
Yeah.
lived in your community?
Yes.
Pilatus.
Yes, and then my mother's maiden name was Pilato.
Yeah, that storm was 56.
Yeah.
I had my son in March.